What's up, Nerd4Jinsei here. This video is going to be the first in a series of videos where I will go over rare and legendary heroes and let you know hopefully some heroes that you might be missing out on just because they're not fated. Alright, so I figured I would start off with a 2-for-1 and start with some characters that everybody has, assuming that you did not sell them or disassemble them. Alright, everybody gets Kaya early on in the story, I think chapter 2, and Zeon, main protagonist, you get him off the bat, alright? So first, let's start off with Kaya, alright, and we're going to go with her kit. Alright, so first, her passive is First Aid, the only healing passive in the entire game. Grants a heal 100% of her attack when an ally drops below 20%. Alright, and an important thing to note with this passive is that it can stack with other first aids. Alright, so say I have Kaya and I have Anastasia over here on my team, both of them, and someone drops below 20%, both of them will use first aid, healing them back up to, maybe 80% HP, depending on how much HP they have, right? Really strong, and the fact that it is stackable is really nice. Alright, next, for skill 2, we have Melody from a Trip. Heals all allies by 20% of own maximum HP and cleanses of all debuffs and damage over time. This is really strong. A 3 mana AoE heal for 27% of her HP, and she does have a pretty high amount of HP. This is a really strong ability. Both the cost and the amount of healing that it does is really nice. And lastly, we have Heart Song, which heals all allies by 55% of her own max HP and cleanses all debuffs and damage over time once again. Really strong. I'm pretty sure, let's see, Anastasia over here, 49%. Oh, wow. Yeah, so I'm pretty sure this might be the strongest heal, AoE heal in the entire game. And I would probably say that overall, Kaya is one of the strongest, if not the strongest, pure healers in the entire game. And what I mean by pure healer is, for example, FC Anastasia, right? She's obviously stronger than Kaya overall, right? She's got all of the Dragon Blood passives. However, her skill 3 does damage. Alright, she only has one heal. Oh, I guess she has two, including the passive, right? But Kaya has more healing overall. Okay, and then you have revivers such as Cybele or Lepin, right? Which is nice, right? Revive is really strong, but um, not counting utility, right? Just straight up overall healing, Kaya definitely has the most in the game. Um, Maybe tied with Talia over here. All right, Talia has an AoE heal on her skill 3 and a single heal on her skill 1. However, her skill 1 only costs 1 mana point, so she can spam it almost every single turn, which makes her really, really strong. Anyway, back to Kaya. Really strong healer. I would definitely suggest using her if you're newer players and you're still in the story. She can really help you out in story. I use her just about everywhere, if I'm being honest. I use her in Dragon Holy Grounds. Sometimes I use Talia, sometimes I use Kaya. Honestly, they're interchangeable. When it comes to Earth Day for the special dungeons, I use her for almost every single dungeon. Um, when it comes to Tag Team PvP, for those of you who don't know what that is, when you are Challenger 1 or higher, like every other week, it's going on right now, you have Tag Team PvP, where you have 3 teams instead of one, and you can match your teams up against the enemy's teams, and whoever wins 2 out of 3 matches wins. All right, and I have her on one of my strong teams. Right, I didn't put her on a throwaway team where it doesn't matter if it loses. I put her on one of my strong teams. She's actually in there with. I have her, FC Anastasia, and Talia all in the same team. So it's just like a frontline, thick healer composition. It's really nice. Anyway, I use her. Anyway, I use her practically everywhere. Really strong. I really recommend that you builder if you haven't yet. And I really recommend that if you have copies, do not sell them, do not disassemble them, just transcend her. Okay, just send her, get her to 85, real easy, make her even stronger. Now, I guess I'll take a look at her stats a bit. First, I'll give you a look at my gear. Um, this is pretty average gear for the characters that I have geared out. So if you come over here, she has 5100 HP, 1100 attack, and 1000 defense. Now, if we go over to Anastasia over here, if you look at Anastasia's gear is actually, it's better, right? Kaya only has plus 30 on all of her legendary gear, and she has a rare piece of gear for her accessory. Whereas Anastasia has level 50 book, level 50 hat and chest, and level 50 boots. All right. And if we take a look at her stats, right, 5900 HP, almost 1400 attack, and 1200 defense, right? So if you compare this Fciana, who actually has better, more level up gear, to this Kaya, right? Obviously, FC Anastasia has more stats, but considering that Kaya is rare, these are very comparable stats, right? And you can transcend her to 85 really easily, all right? So, just to give you an example, or just to give you a picture of how strong she really is, these stats are really nice. And also, in the squadron versus squadron right now, she has a 200% attack, HP, and defense buff. So anybody not using her in the squadron versus squadron, you're really missing out, in my opinion. Probably the strongest healer right now because she has those buffs, just for that. Alright, so that's it for Kaya. Moving on to Zeon. Alright, so let's start off with his kit. First, we have Counter. Right now, Counter, when it comes to PvP, can be a double-edged sword, right? If you have him on your defense, they can make use of Counter to get more mana, so they can use their skills quicker, right? They hit your Zeon hits them, they counter back, so they got 2 mana in 1 turn. They can also take advantage of Counter when it comes to all of the Dragon Knights to stack up their Dragon Blood passives, right? So defensively, not that great, but offensively, when you have control, you can do the same thing to them, right? You hit one of their heroes with Counter, which gives you 2 mana, stack your mana more easily, all right? So PvP, I would say Counter is, like I said, it's a double-edged sword. It can be good and or bad, all right? But PvE wise, it is very strong, right? I use Zeon almost for all of the special dungeons on Fire Day, and especially when it comes to lunar and solar trade routes, almost all of the enemies there have either counter or thrust. Thrust, you're going to get stunned, but when it comes to the counter units, I use him, I attack the counter unit, he counters me, I counter him back, I break a unit with 1 turn, and I get 2 mana, right? Really strong in PvE. Also, it allows you to, for example, I'm using him for core raid right now. So I can break, so if he gets hit by the core raid boss, he can break another stone. He's really, really strong. Anyway, next we have Blazing Sword. 1 mana and deals 200% to 1 enemy. Right? This is pretty strong. It's not super strong. For example, a lot of Fated heroes, or Fate Core Zeon, Bernadette, and I believe Sabrina all have 1 mana and 300% of their attack, right? So it's not super strong. He is a rare hero, but granted, it is still pretty damn strong. Okay? And like I said, PvE, PvP, he's definitely viable. And last but not least, we have his skill 3, which deals 119% to all enemies for 3 mana. This is a decent AoE. I wouldn't say it's super strong, but I wouldn't say it's so super weak. It's kind of like middle of the pack. But I do say that Zeon is pretty good at getting mana. I think fire elemental heroes are pretty good at getting mana, since anytime someone crits, they do get 1 mana. Plus, he has 1 counter, so he is able to use this ability really quick. And in PvP, obviously, using AoE if they have a Dragon Knight is a no-no. But like I said, I'm using him also in tag team. So if I match him up against someone that against one of the teams where they don't have a Dragon Knight, um, then I can use his AoE freely. Also in PvE, really strong. Like I said, I use him for almost all of the special dungeons and Fire Day, so this AoE definitely comes in handy. Alright, now let's move on to his stats, right? I'm going to give you a look at his gear. Once again, all legendary, leveled up to around level 30. Right, and with that, he has 41, almost 4200 HP, almost 1500 attack, and almost 1300 defense. Alright, these are pretty strong stats. Unfortunately, there isn't really anybody to directly compare him to, right? If I go over to Baraka over here, Baraka is just a completely different kind of unit, right? Very low HP and defense, but high attack. I could try comparing him to Redley, but my Redley just has my best gear, plus Redley has insane stats in my opinion. Um, so yeah, but if you just look at these stats, you can tell that these are really strong stats, and once again, because he's a 3-star hero, very easy to transcend. So I definitely recommend that you build him. Plus, you never know when you might pull the FC Zeon, in which case you've already got him built. You just slap the Fate Core on him, boom, you're good to go. So that's it. That's all for this video. Just a really quick overview of these 2 heroes, and I just want to let you know how strong that they can be, and that you can use them, especially for the special respective special days. I use Zeon for all of them, and I use Kaya for all of them. And especially Kaya, I have a lot of Earth units to choose from when it comes to the Earth special dungeons, right? I have Redley, I have Talia, I have Chiati over here. I have almost everybody except for Jinai that you would use for those days, but I still use Kaya because she's really just that strong. Alright, anyway, if you guys have any recommendations or requests on heroes that you would like me to review that you're on the fence about, or you just want me to make a video on, please let me know in the comments below. And if I think it's worth a video, I will definitely do that. Alright, that's it. I'm out. Peace.